Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the score was 124-108. It's a whole lot of Kobe numbers going on there at the end of the season. 24-8, you know what it is. And we won the game against the New Orleans Pelicans to complete our season. We are certain we will play the New Orleans Pelicans again in the play-in tournament first round, which is one game. And then if you lose it, then you play another game in the tournament. If you win it, then you go on and play Denver. Yeah, that's how that turns out, Lakers. If you win the game. After all of that, Denver ended up with the second damn seed. So now if we win this basketball game, that's exactly what we're seeing in the first round. This is tough when you consider that Anthony Davis had some back stuff happen at the end of this basketball game, and we don't know what his status will be for this next game, the play-in tournament game. We don't know. So while we just celebrated a nice victory against New Orleans Pelicans, when AD wasn't on the floor, we were a much different team against these New Orleans Pelicans. And if he ain't going to be available in the play-in tournament game, that could be real dangerous for us. But you got to give credit to the person who's getting the game ball. Look no further than LeBron James, the great LeBron James, 28 points, 17 assists, 11 rebounds, 5 steals. It's a fantastic basketball game, to say the least. Big players show up for the big games, man, and you knew he would show up for this one. We needed him to play this well, and he did. Anthony Davis ended up with 30 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, I think 3 assists, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. Austin Reeves had 20 strong points, 8 out of 12 from the field, 3 of 7 from the 3, if I'm not mistaken. D'Angelo Russell hit 5 threes with 19 points, if I'm not mistaken. 9 points, I believe it was, for Taurean Prince, or maybe 11, not really sure. But point is, our team really showed up, man. We had over 60 points, 68 points, I believe it was, in the paint. Definitely destroyed them in the paint. Most of that in the first half. Second half kind of took our foot off the gas in that way. Shot about 55% from the field, about 37% from the 3. Hit 11 threes as a team. I think we had about 15 or 16 turnovers. I think they gave up about 18 on their end. And, I just really like how the team showed up. If we would have showed up like this every night, it would have been great. I thought this was a good Darvin game. I think he called all the timely timeouts that we want to see him call when we want to stop the bleeding in basketball games. It's as good as I've ever seen him do that. And couldn't come at a more necessary time. I thought the rotations were pretty solid for the most part. Vince didn't really do too much. But, you got to think of like 7 points out of Spencer Dinwiddie. As I said, maybe 9 or 11 points, something like that, out of Taurean Prince. It was a heavy starter type of game. And those starters showed up big, man. And LeBron James was just diming the ball all over the place. I mean, I think he had like 15 assists in the first half. Most of the damage was done in the first half. All of our damage was done in the first half. And we kind of just played a little clock management, I think, mostly in the second half. I think that's kind of what the stats tell me. A lot of our damage was done in the first 2 quarters. So this was just an all-around fantastic way to approach the game. We ended still a little hesitant because we know Anthony's not 100% healthy, and anything involving a back could really influence what happens next. And, of course, with Denver finding themselves in the 2 seed, you don't feel all that strongly about what you have in front of you. This is what you get when you win the game, is a date with the team that you'd otherwise rather not see. But Minnesota did lose their game to Phoenix, so Phoenix takes the 6th seed, and as a result, Minnesota falls to 3. And OKC dropped like 106 points on the depleted Dallas Mavericks, who set all their guys because they knew they were playing the Clippers. And as a result, they're the number 1 seed. So, that's just what it is. I don't know if the Lakers ultimately tank this game, even though most people would think that's like the most taboo thing to say. I really wonder how important it is for them to avoid Denver in their minds. And if it's as important as I'm worried it is, we may not even play Anthony Davis in that game against New Orleans and just let New Orleans go ahead and take that 7th seed and then take our chances in a one-and-done game against the Golden State Warriors or the Sacramento Kings. Now, I personally don't think that's a smart decision. I don't think I'd rather secure the playoff spot because anything can happen in a one-game situation, and you're talking about the Sacramento Kings and Steph Curry as well. You don't want no parts of a one-and-done situation against those teams when they have their backs against the wall. Not with our history against either one of those teams. But at the same time, you're almost definitely certain you're not beating the Denver Nuggets in the first round, so you're out of here anyway. That is something that Laker fans are going to be mulling over for the next couple of days. I'm going to be honest with you. I say win the game and take your chances against Denver. Secure your playoff spot. Yeah, that's where my head goes. But it kind of brings me back full circle to where I was at the end of the game last against Memphis when I said I'd like a lottery pick rather than to see us get ourselves beat by the Denver Nuggets. I don't know that I don't still feel that way, but now that we've had success against New Orleans and we've secured our playoff spot, or rather play-in tournament spot, it's kind of hard to really die on that hill too. I want my lottery pick. If we do happen to lose to Denver, I wish I had my lottery pick. However, there's also a part of me that really wants us to see the Denver Nuggets and beat the Denver Nuggets. I just don't think we're capable of that. That's the problem. My ego and my Laker, fandom wants to face Denver. My faith in this unit beating Denver is not strong. You feel me? And so I've really warred with this over the last month. And now that this is in front of us, I just think that it's probably the safer way to go is, if you're serious about making the playoffs, do so now. Don't have any intentions of tanking against New Orleans. Don't do that. Just to avoid Denver. If you're going to do that, tank both games and give me my damn lottery pick. That's how I feel about that, truthfully. If I'm being completely honest with everybody. If the Lakers are going to tank the first game to avoid Denver, go ahead and tank that second game too so I can have my lottery pick. I think that's what's best for our organization. If we're that serious about avoiding people, we're not good enough to win a championship. We're just not. And if you're going to try to avoid Denver, I would rather... See, here's the thing. If you run to Sacramento, you can't beat them. If you run to Denver, you can't beat them. I'd rather 4 chances to be eliminated by Denver than 1 chance to be eliminated by Sac. Either way, you haven't beaten either one of those teams in about 2 years. You see what I'm saying? And Golden State's been beating us too, with the exception of the double overtime game. No matter where you look, it's a problem for you, Lakers. So the best thing for you to do is take the great matchup against New Orleans, the team you just stomped out, and stomp them out again, and then get in the playoffs and get your 4 opportunities at a Denver Nuggets team that I don't think is playing all that great basketball right now, to be honest with you. I think if ever there was a time to want to run into Denver, it's probably now. They struggled with San Antonio. They struggled with Utah today, even though they won the game. It was close most of the day. I don't think they're playing their best ball. This is probably the best time to see them. Because if you let them play 2 or 3 rounds of the playoffs, they might start clicking again and get back into their best shape. This is the time to see them. If ever there is one. So that's what I'll say to my Lakers. If Denver is not playing great right now, you'd probably, and I mean not just us, anybody would probably rather see them in the first round while they're struggling to really find themselves than let them win their first round against whomever and then see them in the second or third round when they're in shape and they're going strong. This is the time to see them if you've been studying them. So that's what I'm saying to you guys, man. I've thought a lot about this as this game closed out today, knowing that the Utah Jazz didn't beat the Golden State Warriors, or rather, not even thinking about that game, but Minnesota and the Phoenix Suns game went the way that it did, realizing Minnesota was going to be number 3. It became clear to me that we were going to be seeing Denver if we beat the Pelicans in this first game. And so that's a real thing, man. I'd love to hear what other Laker fans are thinking right now. Because that's a dangerous thing, We got the matchup we wanted in the play-in tournament, but then we're going to get the matchup we don't want if we win it. And so I know there's going to be a few people out there who secretly think it makes sense to tank this game, man. I hope none of those people are on this team. That's the problem. But I know that strategy is in the back of people's minds, because if you do, and you win that Sac Golden State game, you get OKC. And that's the matchup we think we want. I don't want to play like that though. I don't. That stuff can have you missing the playoffs. That type of stuff will get you in a situation. Anything can happen in a one-game situation. We know that. But strategy and path really matters in the playoffs. And if you're trying to make the playoffs, then you want the path that makes the most sense for you, not the one that doesn't. But like I said, at least if you lose a game to the Denver Nuggets, you got 3 more to lose. You lose a game to the Phoenix Suns, the Sacramento Kings or the Golden State Warriors, you're out of here. So that's the real deal. But I like how our team played today, man. I do. If we could just get Anthony Davis to be 100% and we approach every game like we did this one, I think we can beat anybody, really. Not named Denver, unfortunately. But like I said, this is the best time to see Denver. I personally think if you're going to see them in the first round and you beat them, it propels you to basically be the best team in the league, arguably. I don't find myself fearing any other team in the Western Conference. So the worst will get out the way first if we happen to win the series somehow. That's the truth, man. I don't think there's going to be a tougher battle for you than seeing the Denver Nuggets. So if you can come in there with the right mentality and somehow squeeze out of that series alive, after that, then it's just about you keeping up what it is that took to beat Denver against everybody else, which shouldn't be too hard because ain't nobody better than Denver. They're really not. And we should be getting Vando back. Somewhere in there, Vando will be returning. So that gives me a whole lot more confidence in our team, to say the least. Maybe we get lucky and even Christian Wood can find a way back in these playoffs. But none of that can happen if you lose the next game, and none of that can happen if you tank the next game to get to the, try to path out your strategy. Everything could go wrong. You could lose the game at the buzzer against damn Steph Curry. Clay can go for 10 threes. Like you avoided them by winning this game today. I suggest you continue to avoid them by winning the next game too. Because I do think they're going to beat Sacramento. I definitely think Golden State wins that game. Even though I think Sacramento is going to be hosting that, which I think could be interesting with the beam and all that. But that's not our problem, man. Our problem is the New Orleans Pelicans. The team we just beat is going to be the team we have to see. And quite honestly, we match up very well with them, which is why I wanted to see them. I think we match up much better with them than we would have been the Phoenix Suns. Let the Phoenix Suns deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's crazy. They played the Timberwolves now, and then they got to play another whole potentially 7 games with the Timberwolves. It's like 8 straight games potentially for the Phoenix Suns against the Timberwolves. That's crazy. See how all of this shook out, and then you look over in the Eastern Conference and you got Milwaukee, Indiana. I may actually watch that series just because they got so much history this season going up against each other and having trouble, and the Pacers beat the crap out of the Milwaukee Bucks a good portion of the time. The Dame told, Halliburton he needed to be humble, and Halliburton turned around and smacked him again. Like, I really think the Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks could be one of the best series of the playoffs. So that ain't got nothing to do with us, but you can see how these teams are playing one another and various different things are happening that are really exciting, man. Really exciting times. So congratulations to everybody for completing the season. So long to the teams that are in the lottery. And it's only a couple teams left now, man. What you got, 20 teams left? I think that's how that shakes out. And a few of them going to be going home soon in this play-in tournament. So, yeah, man, I'm going to go check out, see what else is out there. I haven't really looked at all the standings as far as who's playing who. I'm really, really curious about that. Of course, we'll be talking about it in the coming days. But for now, the Los Angeles Lakers took care of business. Of course, the game ball goes to Bron. We're very concerned about Anthony Davis. Very concerned about Anthony Davis. And we're very concerned about what happens if we do win this game and end up seeing the Denver Nuggets. Very concerned about all that. But for now, we took care of business. And I want to thank the team for taking care of business. I challenged them to come out and win this basketball game. And I thought they approached it the right way. I thought they handled it the right way. And I thought that the young Pelicans just were in over their head once again. And it's a learning experience for that team. I do think bringing Brandon Ingram back kind of shook up their lineup a little bit in some negative ways. I said the same thing about Karl Anthony Towns coming back against Minnesota. I assume he came back, and you saw how that turned out. It's just a real thing, man. You do not want to be bringing players back in a one-game situation. It's not smart. I know players want to come back. They think they can help their team, but it rattles things in a way that usually doesn't help their team, and you see the evidence of that today in more than one game. So that's what I want to say. Told you so for those who were wondering if I was right about that. But anyway, man, there we are. Now we know we are in the 8th seed, and we'll continue to fight to keep that being a thing. Hopefully we can win this game and secure ourselves the 7th seed against the Denver Nuggets, where that series would start. Altitude, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to say something now that I think needs to be said about facing the Denver Nuggets. Last year in the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals, all 3 of our top players had foot injuries. None of them have foot injuries right now. Now, Anthony Davis with the back, that's a whole nother story. But Bron is healthy, and D'Lo's callus are behind him. He played a good game today. Hopefully he snapped out of his funk. 5 threes hit. Good defense played. I thought this was the best game he's played in about 3 weeks. Austin looked great tonight. Rui did some great things in the paint, dunking on people repeatedly. I thought he should have got some of those calls. Should have been some and ones there. A lot of contact on those dunks. And I think this is about as good as a game as you could ask for. In this situation, this is what you want to see, man. So that's really what it is. Very happy with this game. I just wish we didn't have more Anthony Davis injury concerns to trail us into the play-in tournament. I'm tired of this. And I know Anthony Davis played so many games all year long, and we're giving him his flowers for playing so many games. But now we come into the play-in tournament one-and-done situation against his old squad, and his back's hurt. It's just, you feel me? It gets to a point where it's like, yo, I do not want to live and die with this dude, man. I understand how important he is to my team. We need to not make him so important in the near future. We need more players that can do what he does and fill in for him at a high enough level so that when this type of stuff happens, it doesn't kill us. That is Rob Pelinka's job this offseason. Depending on what our path is going forward, we cannot be so Anthony Davis reliant, man. We cannot. We can't keep knowing that we're going to lose if he's not out there, because there's a chance he's not going to be out there. So that's what I really want my team to address. I don't know how best to address that other than to say, with the pick that we receive, whether it's a lottery pick or not, draft a damn center. Seriously. Draft that center, man. Because this type of crap was foreseeable, and now here we are with him having his back injury going into a one-and-done situation against a team that will want nothing more than to get revenge for this game right here, man. So if you think the Pelicans are going to play bad in this next game just because you blew them out, you ain't never seen playoff basketball. Because I didn't seen games where a team wins by 40 and still loses the series, which means that team they beat by 40 came back and beat them. So that is not a perfect sign. Just because you beat them today, obviously, if you know anything about NBA basketball, that does not mean you're going to beat them tomorrow. So we need to come in with a whole nother attitude, especially if Anthony's not going to be available. We got to play the perimeter even better than we did tonight. We got to attack the paint even more so than we did tonight. And if AD ain't going to be out there, we're going to need other people to make up the score. So that's real, man. Hopefully AD will shake that off and get the treatment necessary. He doesn't have to fly anywhere, which is excellent news. We get to stay in New Orleans, get treatment there, rest there, sleep there. And hopefully he still has his home in New Orleans. I don't know how that went, but hopefully he still has a bed to sleep in that is in a hotel room in New Orleans. Because that could go a long way in making him healthy. So that's what it is, man. We don't never get to really celebrate nothing, do we, Laker fans? It's always some extras, bro. Golly. But we got the game we needed. We're extremely happy about it. And congratulations to the squad on a good high note to end the regular season. A very tough and strenuous, frustrating regular season ends on a high note because we took care of the last game that we really, really needed. So that's really what I got to say, man. Of course, I'll have more content for you. There'll be plenty to talk about. But for now, I'm signing off. BDL44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.